Hey story readers, it's Warren and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a huge Black Friday book haul. So Black Friday was this past weekend and everything was on sale. It's one of the biggest capitalist days of the year because everything is on sale, and I took huge advantage of that and got myself a ton of books. These are books that I put on my wish list and I've just finally taken the opportunity to collect them, and I'm excited to show you guys. It's going to be a massive book haul. So the first set of books I got were at Target because Target has books discounted at 20% off at regular price. So for Black Friday, it was about 20 to 30% off of all their books. So Target was my first stop on my book buying spree. The first book I got was Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, and I am really excited to read this because it looks like it's very, very well put together and well written. I think the cover looks amazing too, with Thor's hammer Mjolnir on the top. I am part Nordic myself, that's where I get my blonde hair from, so I was excited to pick this book up and learn more about the mythology and legends of my Nordic heritage. And I also love the movies about Thor in the Marvel Universe. He is one of my favorite Avengers, and I have such a love for European mythology, so I'm really excited to read this and learn more about some of the Norse ideas and beliefs. Then I got To All the Boys I've Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. I got these two books because I already have the third one, Always and Forever Lara Jean, and I felt like I needed to get these other two so I can have the trilogy and actually read the series. The reason I got the third one without buying the other two first was because I was at a book con and Jenny Han was there signing her new book, and I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to take advantage of that. So I did, and I finally saw these books. They were on sale for like $8, so I got both of these, and they're in paperback, which I'm not really a fan of putting paperback and hardcovers together for the same series, but these are relatively the same size and thickness as the hardcovers, so it wasn't that bad. And then I picked up Artemis by Andy Weir, and I have really been looking forward to this book. I'm so excited to start it. Andy Weir is the author of The Martian, and for this book, instead of Mars, it takes place on the moon. And I love this image of the moon with just the crescent of the sunrise on it. I think that's awesome, and I believe this story is about a young girl who lives in this lunar dystopian society, and she's just a common thief trying to provide for herself, take care of herself, and she gets offered this mega heist job, this one last heist that she can pull off, and it'll set her up for life and she'll never have to do any more thieving. And she finds herself caught in the center of this political struggle for the city on the surface of the moon. Sounds amazing, and I am super excited to pick this one up. And I'm really curious because I really enjoyed The Martian due to its realism and the way that Andy Weir made it so scientifically accurate. So I'm really excited and interested to see if Andy Weir is going to add any like astrophysics aspects into this book, or if it's just going to be purely fantasy. Next, I picked up 1984 by George Orwell, and this is a classic that I actually have not read yet, so I felt like it was time for me to pick this book up. This was the original dystopian society where you had a big government that controlled every aspect of your life and was mass surveilling you and the people in its society. It's a very scary idea. Not only that, but it is a classic, and I love classics, and this is one I haven't read yet. I've read Animal Farm, also by George Orwell, and I really enjoyed that one, but I've yet to pick up this one, and I've been wanting to for years, and I just never did, so I'm finally excited to pick this up and start reading it. And I like that the cover is this giant eyeball. That's kind of creepy, but it's cool. Then I got This by Laurie Hernandez, and this is her personal memoir about her journey as a gymnast and a gold medal Olympian, but I found that she's a little bit of an inspiration for me. I think she's adorable. The fact that she can completely dominate the sport of gymnastics and win gold medals in the Olympics at age 16 makes me really question what the hell I'm doing with my life. Then I picked up Warcross by Marie Lu, and I heard really good things about this book, that it's like a cyber fantasy, sort of takes some inspiration from The Matrix, War Games, and Tron. I have not read a lot by Mary Lou. I didn't like her Legend series very much, and I didn't read The Young Elites, so I'm gonna give this book a chance and we'll see, maybe it'll be really good. I've heard great things about it though. It follows a girl named Amika who travels to Tokyo for some online gaming tournament. She ends up working for the owner of the game as his hacker. It sounds really cool and very much like Tron and The Matrix. People have been saying that it's one of the best books of this year, so I'm excited to read it and let you guys know my thoughts on it. And the last book that I picked up from Target is one that I actually didn't intend on buying originally because I didn't enjoy this series very much, but that is King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. And the reason I hesitated to get this book is because I loved Red Queen. I thought that was a really creative twist on some classic dystopian stories, and then I read Glass Sword, and it just ruined the series for me. It was boring, I didn't like the characters, Mare was just a very annoyingly frustrated, one-dimensional character, and I just couldn't stand her. And I quite honestly criticized Victoria Aveyard harshly for her bad writing, because I felt like a lot of that book was just very poorly written on her part, just creatively. But I had people tell me to not be turned off too much by Glass Sword and give it a chance, because King's Cage is a little bit better, and now she announced that her final book's coming out called Warstorm, and that does look interesting. So I'm giving her one more chance to redeem my love for these books, because I really thoroughly enjoyed Red Queen, and the collector's edition of that book looks really awesome, and I do want to pick that up at some point as well. And the other reason I got this is because of just a little bit of OCD, where I hate having incomplete trilogies. Even if I don't like the trilogy, the fact if I only have 2 books on my shelf of that trilogy, I feel like just messes me up. I need to have complete trilogies. So I bought King's Cage so that I can have the complete set of Red Queen books that are out. Those are all the books that I got at Target. Then my next stop was, of course, Barnes & Noble. I had a gift card for Barnes & Noble that I got that I wanted to use, and I'm also a member there, so I got everything automatically discounted for me, so it was a pretty good deal. First, I picked up The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, and this is a really popular sci-fi series, which I know the sequel just came out called The Empress, and I think this book is about a girl who is a Diabolic, which is like a genetically designed assassin who is supposed to protect someone. And so this Diabolic's name is Nemesis, and she has to protect the heir of the Galactic Senate, who is being attacked by the Imperial Court. So it sounds very sci-fi and Star Wars-ish, and I think that's a cool concept. One of my friends who works at Barnes & Noble recommended I pick this one up because she really enjoyed it, and the Empress has a really cool cover, and I was interested in reading it, but then I realized this is the first one. So I'm looking forward to reading this series. Then I got Invictus by Ryan Graudin, and this is a time travel heist story about a boy named Farway who is born literally outside of the space-time continuum, and he is training to be a time jumper. And that's all I really know about this book, but it sounds awesome. It's like an Ocean's 11 heist story in the past, throughout history. He's the son of a time traveler from the future and a Roman gladiator. So it's like if Maximus met Sarah Connor from the Terminator and the two of them had a love child, this would be the product. So I am beyond excited to read this book. I will definitely be reviewing this at some point. Then I picked up Winter Song by S.J. Jones, I'm not sure how they say that name, but this book I believe is a very loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and it's about a girl named Liesel. All her life, Liesel has grown up hearing stories and legends of the goblins and the Goblin King, and when her sister is taken by this king, she has to go and confront him and rescue her sister. It's a classic tale of sisterly love and perhaps a little bit of romance between a Goblin King and this girl. I love the name of it, Winter Song. It's a great winter read, and I love the cover. It's beautiful, and the plot sounds really intriguing, so I am excited to pick this book up because the winter time is coming up soon, and I want to get festive into the Christmas spirit and the winter solstice spirit and read some of these books. And I think Winter Song will be a perfect book to read during the cold months. Then I picked up a really popular book that just came out, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. And I'm actually surprised at how thick this book is. This book is a brick. It's got 555 pages, I think. I really enjoyed her Lunar Chronicles series. I have not finished reading that one yet, so I probably won't get around to this book, The Lunar Chronicles, but I'm excited. This book follows a girl named Nova, and she living in a dystopian society where these futuristic superheroes, kind of like X-Men from the future, are ruling the justice system in her society. There was this big battle, and the good guys won, and now she's out for revenge for having her faction be destroyed in the society by these futuristic superheroes. At least that's what I understood the book to be about, but I am really excited to pick this one up. I'm happy that it's actually thick because I do enjoy giant brick books, and I don't know if this is supposed to be a standalone or if this is going to be a new series, but I am really excited to pick this up because I love superheroes and I love Marissa Meyer's works. Then I picked up The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. This book is about a sorceress who has magic, and she lives in modern day New York City where magic is all but extinct and gone. It reminds me a lot of the Disney movie The Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nicolas Cage, and also a little bit maybe of like Doctor Strange, but I've heard really good things about this book, and this book was recommended to me, so I decided to pick it up. I'm also surprised at how thick this book is. This book is also about like 400 to 500 pages. It's kind of a brick as well. It sounds like a really cool epic fantasy. It's set in modern day New York, and I like the idea of magic in New York City, and I just think that's cool. Now this next book is one that is super hyped up. A lot of people have been raving and talking about this book, and that is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. And so many people have said that this book is like Aquitar, and I love the cover of this book. It is so pretty. This book is also about magical people called the Fae, Fae, and this girl, I think her name is Isabel, paints pictures of the Fae, and she paints them very sad looking, which angers the Fae people because they're supposed to be very happy and virtuous and good, and so she is dragged into one of the Fae courts and has to explain herself. So I think that's a really cool concept, and it reminds me a lot of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm surprised that this book is really thin. This book's only about 300 pages at the most, and I've heard a lot of people said it was really good. The romance was good, and the mystery and plot was interesting. And so many people have been talking about it, and I've heard really good things from it. I feel like I've said that with almost every book that I've reviewed, but it's true. I have heard good things about all of these books that I've picked up. This is definitely a good December read because it's perfect to read, you know, cozied up by the fire. December is always a great time to read epic fantasy. Then I got a book that I have heard really, really good reviews for. People have been raving and saying this is one of the best contemporaries that they've read this year, and that is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I love how the spine is like green, and this is about a girl named Eliza, and her monsters are her cartoons that she draws. She's a very popular cartoon artist, and one day, one of her biggest fans of her cartoons transfers to her high school, and the two of them meet, and I don't think he knows that she is the artist behind the cartoons, so they have this cute little romance story. I think it's a very unique twist on a contemporary love story, because most contemporaries are kind of cliche now. Earlier this year, I read Geekerella, which is also a really good contemporary, and is probably my favorite contemporary of all time right now because I love how it's such a cool, modern twist to the Cinderella story, and I heard that Eliza and Her Monsters is a lot like this book in the sense that it's very different and unique, that gives you all the warm, fuzzy feels inside. So yeah, I might be doing a review on this, I might not, but I'm definitely excited to read this and see if it lives up to all the hype. Then I got another really popular book, and that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I've not been the biggest John Green fan, but I've heard that this book was interesting, and I felt like I would give him another try with his books because I heard that this is a contemporary mystery novel, but I do hear some good reviews about it, and I think the cover is very photogenic. I love the little artistic spirally cover, so I'm excited to pick this one up because mainly it's John Green, it's popular. Then I picked up Nixia by Scott Rhinton, I don't know. And this is a space sci-fi adventure novel about a boy named Emmett who is recruited by this corporation to go off into deep space and mine a element called Nixia. It sounds awesome. It's definitely the kind of space adventure I love to read. Since I'm currently writing a sci-fi novel myself, I really want to read some of this and see what things are similar or what things are different or what I can get some inspiration from. But I just think the name is so cool. It's such a cool sci-fi name, Nixia. And the cover is very pretty and shiny because it's reflecting off my ring light. And I think this is like a contest because the main character Emmett is in space with other teenagers, so I think that this is a contest, which makes it all the more interesting. But I did notice that that's becoming kind of a trope with space novels right now, is they're winning a contest that makes them go to space. So we'll just have to see how that goes, but I am excited because this book sounds really good. Ugh, I feel like I'm saying that with all the books, but I'm not kidding. They all sound really good, and I'm really excited to read them all. Then I picked up This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I waited to get Our Dark Duet, so I have time to read this one and decide whether or not I like it. I think it's supposed to be a creepy monster dystopian world, but I like the idea of like music being involved. I originally wanted to pick this up around Halloween, but I just didn't get around to getting it in time, but it does sound creepy, and fall is a great time for some dark fantasy. Those are all the books that I bought in the stores, but I also took advantage of Barnes & Noble's online sale because they were having a sale for all of their leather-bound classics, 50% off, so I was super excited about that. Since I recently read their edition of Dracula and really enjoyed it, I wanted to get some more leather-bound classics, so I ordered a few and they are coming in the mail, but they're not here yet. But what I did order was a Christmas treasury, which features The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and some other Christmas stories, a complete collection of Grimm's fairy tales, stories by Hans Christian Andersen, which I believe the movie Frozen was inspired by, and The Snow Queen, which is a story by Hans Christian Andersen. But this book actually features not only the Snow Queen story, but other winter-themed fairy tales. So that's going to be a great book to read during the winter season when it's too cold to go outside and all you want to do is just wrap up in a blanket with warm hot chocolate and read some winter fairy tales about Northern Europe. I think that would be awesome, and it makes me just super excited. Halloween's like my favorite holiday, but for some reason I'm just super excited right now for Christmas. Those are all the books I got for for Black Friday. It was a massive, massive purchase, but I am happy because I saved up my money to do specifically that. And I'm glad that I have all of these tomes that I can read and enjoy throughout the winter months and early to next year. So leave a comment down below and tell me if you've read any of these books on this list or what you're most excited to hear my thoughts on out of all the books that I purchased. And please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe. All of my social media links are in the description below, so go add me. And I hope you guys had a great holiday weekend if you celebrated Thanksgiving, and if not, hope you had a great weekend. And I'll see you really soon with another video on Wednesday. Bye!